Hey, what's good, fam? It's Kyle Henderson along with Trey Yanity coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Got the jacket on tonight, starting to get that time, the month of November. Saban talked about it. Before we get going and take your score predictions, be sure to hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. We appreciate you, fam, more than you know. Trey, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, Kyle. I was just going to say, you're looking fly in the puffer tonight. We got Chris in the beanie, getting down to that time of the year now. But I'm doing really good, getting into this fall. Excited it's November now. We got LSU coming into town. Excited for this show tonight.
Yeah, I was a little surprised to see that Alabama's a 28-point favorite in this game. Were you a little bit taken back by that line?
You know, this LSU team has been confusing. I was thinking somewhere in the 20s, but 28 is a lot. I mean, 4 touchdowns. You are at home, and, this is a game that I think Alabama's going to take pretty personally this season. But, 28 is a big spread. Excited to talk about that tonight. The over-under as well, and, obviously some game lines. And this one, in your score predictions, start getting them in, guys. We're going to take them throughout the show, talk about some avatars. This, that, whatever, as we usually do here on the Score Prediction Show. But, it really is a big line, Kyle. And I think this is, an LSU team that can put some points on the board. They've done that in certain games this year, but we've also seen their offense, really come out flat. So LSU has been so inconsistent. It's confusing, but I think 28 is a little much to open up with.
Yeah, I think, that's a lot of points. I mean, Alabama's coming off an open week, and Nick Saban, we just got done hearing from him talk during his Wednesday press conference, and he said they got a lot of work done during that open week. And I know sometimes you kind of dial things back, but I think it's a good time to kind of reflect and kind of look at where you are as a team going into a critical month of November. We got Bob. It's just us and Bob in here right now. What's up, Bob? We see you 37-13 Roll Tide Roll. Thanks for being here, Bob. We appreciate you, man. Alabama currently the big favorite in this game, and I think that they should be. I think that the college football playoffs, I mean, those came out, the rankings came out last night. And, it was clear that the committee believes in this team. And I know there's a lot of people that don't like Alabama out there. They're like, well, Alabama can lose and they can still be in the rankings. And I don't think it's about what Alabama did last year, the year before that, 5 years before that. I think it comes down to you have to make sure that the best 4 teams are in the college football playoff rankings. What was your take on the rankings? I know that we had our prediction show and kind of our reactions to the show. So, kind of what is your take on the rankings?
Yeah, it's nice. We've had a day now to kind of digest and break this down a little bit. Think about it. It's a weird ranking overall. I think Alabama, Georgia 1 and 2, or, Georgia 1, Alabama 2 is correct. I think those are the 2 best teams in the country. Alabama's lost a game this season. Oklahoma hasn't. Cincinnati hasn't. Some of these other schools, Michigan State, but just look at the team on the field. Maybe, even on paper, Alabama's just better than Michigan State. They're better than Oklahoma, better than Cincinnati. And, for the schools like Cincinnati that got frustrated about the decision, even schools further back like Oklahoma, it's really still in your own hands. Alabama might be number 2 now, but guess what? They got to play number 1. Oklahoma has got to play some difficult teams along the way here. Oklahoma State coming up as well, but they're not going to have to play that number 1 team in the country. You look at Michigan State, they control their own destiny. Cincinnati, to an extent, controls their own destiny, but, Michigan State, Ohio State playing each other, you assume that knocks one out. And Alabama and Georgia, of course, you assume that knocks another out there for Cincinnati to get to that 4th spot. But overall, really interesting. It was kind of gutsy by the committee to come out and take such a divisive stance on Oklahoma and, really show the rest of the country we're not playing around anymore. We're not just going to give you the ranking, the 2, 3, 4 because of your record. You're going to have to prove it a little bit. And I think that's kind of what they showed last night.
Here on the Score Prediction Show, my name is Kyle Henderson along with Trey Yanity. Get those score predictions in. So far, we got Bob and Jacob. What's up, guys? Thanks for being here. We also got Nick Saban's press conference. We'll play that here right now, kind of just to have Saban, replay his comments and kind of talk about what, kind of the message going in this week.
What we've tried to emphasize this week, especially coming off a bye week, not being in the rhythm of sort of a normal week, is how important preparation is. I mean, I don't care what you're doing. Even if you're cutting down a tree, you may spend 4 or 5 hours preparing to do it, and it takes 10 minutes to cut it down. So, the important thing is guys stay focused. We've been good. The players have been good. I thought the energy and enthusiasm in practice this week has been good. So, they got a lot of good players, and this is going to be a challenging game for us. It's always a tough physical game with these guys. So we definitely need to, challenge each other. I think that's one of the things that is important on any team, that you have the kind of leadership that challenges each other, and there's more than just one or two people that do that. And you challenge them so they do the right things, and it creates value for them. I don't care if it's off the field, on the field, in the classroom. And I think it's important that we influence and impact people in a positive way so that they have a better chance to be successful.
Okay, with that, we'll get things started with Michael Casagrande. Michael?
Yeah, how would you define the optimal balance between rushing and passing on offense?
I don't know that I really define it. I think you really do what you have to do to move the ball and win the game. Some people play to stop the run. They play extra guys in the box. So there's more opportunities in the passing game. So you don't want to, try to beat your head up against the wall. So you say, okay, we rush for over 150 yards today. Other teams are more split safety oriented. I give you more opportunities to run it. So maybe in those games you run it for a little more, pass it for a little less. But I think the number one thing you want to do is take advantage of what the defense gives you, rather than is there some number that you're trying to get to. I think it's more important that when you do run it, that we have positive runs, which means we're going to make 4 or 5 yards a carry per average, and not have negative plays, because the design of the plays are well schemed so that we get a hat on a hat and have a chance to be successful. And I think it's the same way when you pass it. It's, what's your pass per attempt? That's probably more important than any final number.
All right, that was Nick Saban. Here we are down at the bottom of the screen. What's up, guys? Thanks for joining us. This is, the Score Prediction Show. We got 18 people in the house. What's up, guys? Thanks for joining us. D Brown's already in there. If you're new to the Score Prediction Show, we're going to pipe in your score predictions in just a minute and kind of get your take on this game between Alabama and LSU. He's Trey Yanity. I am Kyle Henderson of BamaInsider.com. Thanks for joining us. We got the college football playoff rankings there at the bottom of the screen. Were you guys, Trey, tonight Saban provided a good update on Drew Sanders, talked a little bit about the health of Kamar Wheaton. But other than that, Alabama has been pretty healthy, and I think that's important going in this backstretch in November.
It's huge. And, Alabama's maybe not playing the most physical opponents the rest of the way, but once they get to the SEC title, and hopefully further on for Alabama, they're going to have to play some pretty physical teams. So they need to be healthy. It's unfortunate because you look at, the real serious injuries on this team. They're at some pretty important positions. The outside linebacker group just really needed Chris Allen at times this year. And Drew Sanders was a great fill-in for Chris Allen. And then, now that Drew Sanders is gone, you're having to rely on some youth, rely on some different guys that just haven't had the experience yet. So I think, the injuries that do exist are serious and important for this team. But thankfully, there's a lot of depth on this team. And, I think more than even finding the best player, the most healthy player, it's just about finding the right group and getting this group to mesh. Because Nick Saban said it today on the teleconference, this group still hasn't played that game. We haven't seen them play 4 quarters. We really feel comfortable. You feel like this team could win it all this season. I think, once they get this group some consistency in starts, having the same outside linebackers 3 games in a row and, kind of getting your defense right, you're going to find, that 4-quarter game where they're able to keep up that level of energy because they've been practicing with the ones all week, everything else. But, this team is healthy, Kyle. And I think that running back room took a big hit in Jace McClellan as well, but they've responded now. And Brian Robinson has just come into his own the rest of this season. And, maybe this is another opportunity for Trey Sanders to get some reps and, make all these Alabama fans proud here. But overall, it's been a healthy team. You look around the SEC, Alabama's kind of one of the few teams that's been able to say that.
Yeah, Jasper's asking about Chris Allen. Yeah, Chris Allen, Jace McClellan, those guys are done for the year. There's always, a couple guys who are done for the year, but I don't really believe that those guys are done for the year, because what Alabama has at the facilities is like this strength and science Frankenstein center to where they have like Dr. Matt Ray and, David Ballou working with these guys. So never say never. I know that they like to put a timetable on it, but if I was out there, think about it. Chris Allen got hurt. He only played 10 plays, and that was against Miami. He's with the strength and conditioning program. I don't even know what they're doing over there. I wouldn't be surprised. And we've seen it in the past. Remember a couple of years ago, like Terrell Lewis?
Yeah, Jalen Waddle.
They were like, he's done for the year. And then these guys come back towards the end of the year. So they kind of they don't want to show all their cards. And I get that. But once Alabama's probably playing in the national title this year, you'll probably see like Chris Allen come out there and people get fired up. So never say never. Thanks for watching. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. We appreciate you guys. Why don't we go around for the first round of the score predictions, how it works. Our producer, Chris, will post the scores on the screen. Trey will read them out. We'll kind of give you our take on the score predictions, and then we'll continue with some Saban, and then we'll continue with our show.
Let's look into the crystal ball here. I believe we need the music queued up for this first round. We got Bob Rutherford getting in the chat early today. We thank you for being here. His score, I believe, 37-13. He's got the RTR going there. Nice selfie on this avatar. Good way to start it out tonight.
Yeah, I think that I was waiting for the music to get queued.
Coming in.
Bob, yeah, appreciate you coming in, man. 37-13. I think that's a score. Chris, what was it? What's the total points on the game? 60. Okay, so 66. All right, so probably a little bit more points. I mean, I guess they're thinking Bama's going to kind of roll big time, but yeah, we appreciate you, Bob. Let's keep it going.
Up next, we're going to turn it over to Jacob Cups. I like it. 45-10. And maybe some kind of painting going on here. This one doesn't quite cover either, but I like the spread there, 35 points. Good profile overall here.
Yeah, I like this score prediction. I can't really tell what the avatar is. I do like it. Anytime you kind of post it up next to some artwork, I'm all here for it. 45-10, I could totally see this. 42, obviously he has Will Riker knocking down a big whoop there at the last, kind of the last tell of the game or whenever that is. But I do like that score prediction. Remember, we're going to post our score prediction at the end of the screen, at the end of this video. So keep it going.
Yeah, I like it. I thought 66 was a little high myself, and D Brown here is going to agree with me. He's got 38-17. I believe that's right. That's under 66. I'm not a mathematician, but 38-17, Bama. I think that's a good one too.
I thought it was interesting, kind of during the press conference that you mentioned Alabama being undefeated at home. I think it's important because you look kind of down the stretch. I mean, Alabama's schedule very favorable besides that last game going to Auburn. So I could see a lot of points, 38-17. I don't know if LSU is going to score 17. It's always tough to gauge this game, but 38-17, I like it. How about that super chat from Jersey Dolphins on there?
Oh, Jersey Dolphins. Thank you so much for getting in here tonight. Thank you for the super chat, helping us keep this show going, keeping it where it's at. Bama, 45. He's got LSU at 17. A lot of 17s to start us out tonight. I feel like that's kind of the hot number for LSU. I like it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, Jersey, we appreciate you. Thank you very much for always being here, supporting our content right here on BamaInsider.com. Like the score, 45-17. Okay, let's see who else we got.
Up next in the first round here, we got Jasper Fegans, a loyal supporter, loyal commenter, predictor.
Yep.
Looking into the crystal ball, Jasper's got 55-27. Bama, 3 exclamation points. So a lot of enthusiasm there. Love it,
Jasper.
Imagine
if LSU comes in and scores 27 points. I mean, who knows? I mean, people don't like this defense. People don't like this team.
No,
right? People don't like anything. I mean, I think people have a lot of question marks about this team. Like, they know Alabama is going to win, but it doesn't seem like people have been very convinced about any victory this season.
No,
right? Even against Tennessee, like, they win the game, and I feel like people still, and I get it. Like, the expectations are super high, which they should be, but I don't think Alabama has played a complete game yet where people have just been completely convinced with the victory.
They haven't, and they've lost. Anytime this team loses, it's Mayday, and like you said, they really haven't shown it throughout 4 quarters, and I think that's why we're seeing the 27s come up, and people don't really want to trust in this defensive coordinator right now. But Jasper, thanks for the score, 55-27. I think that might be good for the first round here. We can maybe move it along, get back to some scores in a little bit.
Yeah,
but good first round, guys.
Okay. Earlier today, or tonight, Nick Saban talked about Henry Ruggs and, the horrific accident that happened. Prayers to, both families, clearly. Here's Nick Saban talking about Henry Ruggs. I believe it was the last question of this evening. It's national. It's worldwide news. I mean, it was on the front page of the UK Daily Mail today. I mean, it was everywhere. So here's Nick Saban commenting on Henry Ruggs.
News about Henry Ruggs. Just have a comment on that and the incident that occurred in Las Vegas.
Yeah, well, our thoughts and prayers, certainly go out to all involved in this, tragic situation, especially the victims. Our thoughts and prayers are certainly with them, but our thoughts and prayers are also with Henry, his family, and I think this is something that a lot of folks can learn from. I think a lot of players on our team, when we say challenge people to make good choices and decisions, do the right thing, because sometimes the consequences can be devastating. And these consequences are going to probably be pretty devastating to Henry. We love him. We're going to support him through it. But we also have a lot of compassion for the victims, and our thoughts and prayers are also with them.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very horrific incident. I think I have also that I downloaded earlier. There was a kind of the attorney's thoughts. If I can get that footage real quick, just wanted to play. I mean, it's just it's a horrific incident. I think that here's that footage. Now this is the attorney for today.
Attorneys have jobs to do. I've done a number of cases with a number of lawyers. Mr. Ruggs has good lawyers. They have the right to conduct their own investigation. Let them. But we've conducted our investigation, and the facts are pretty strong at this point.
The police said suspected of impairment. Can you elaborate on that? Is it suspected alcohol?
There's no more suspect anymore. There's no more suspicion. His blood alcohol level came back at 0.16. That's twice the legal limit. Mr. Ruggs made a choice to drive while under the influence and be twice the legal limit.
All right, that was obviously a very difficult.
All right, Coach. Thanks.
Happen, and obviously prayers out to both families. As we kind of move forward, and you can watch that statement back on BamaInsider.com. I think that an important part of this entire team is the running game, and Brian Robinson has kind of been on beast mode. But Saban was asked about the other running backs. We haven't really heard too much about Kamar Wheaton. Kamar Wheaton was a freshman 5-star that came in. He was injured. We never even found out what type of injury it was. But Saban was asked today kind of about the running back room. Here's what Saban said. Let me get that pulled up for you guys. About the running backs. Didn't really go too much in depth, but provided a small note on the running backs.
The last couple of weeks.
We'll go to Mike Rodak.
What have you seen from Roydell and Trey Sanders after Jace went down? And what's the latest on Kamar Wheaton's recovery?
Kamar Wheaton's still rehabbing. He's not on the field yet. He's got a ways to go. Those guys have done well. They've all done a good job. They've done a good job when they get opportunities in the game. I think their experience is certainly helping their confidence. And, we've been really pleased, with what they've been able to do to this point.
I didn't really say too much about the running backs. I mean, but Brian Robinson, as you see, thanks, Chris, for getting those stats on the screen. 706 yards, 11 touchdowns, 100 yards per game. You got to think that Alabama really leans on him heavy kind of towards his back end.
I think they will. And, I think the more that the game matters, we're going to see Brian Robinson kind of get a heavier workload. And I think they kind of realized that at Texas A&M. We run the ball more, we win that game. We can't make that mistake again. And, now that they have this depleted running back room, I say depleted, they're missing one guy, but a key guy in Jace McClellan, this running back room kind of has to evolve a little bit. And, as much as I think Alabama fans would like to see Trey Sanders carries increase, maybe even Roydell Williams, it's just not as realistic. Brian Robinson is in his prime of the season right now. He's getting better each week. And I think that, the more touches he gets, kind of like a Derrick Henry kind of guy, more touches he gets, just kind of the better he gets throughout the game. He's a bull. He's not Najee Harris. He's not going to, maybe bust it out like Najee would, but he's going to get you through that game a little bit more, kind of help control the offense. And I think with a younger quarterback, an excellent quarterback that's figured it out very well, but with a younger quarterback, you want to maybe take some of that load off of him and just kind of have the offense go through the running back. The line has come along as well, which helps a ton. But, overall, he's been kind of vague. And I think that's, that's good for this room because it's kind of a low-key room. I don't know if you've noticed that.
Yeah, it really is. And Roydell Williams, 45 carries, 264 yards, just one touchdown. But I think I see a lot of great upside in Roydell. I can't wait to see with him, get more content and kind of carries. And, I think that Roydell Williams is a special back along with Jace McClellan. And I'm still curious about Trey Sanders.
Yeah.
Right. It's just like,
what's going on?
Do you think he's going to play a role on this team this season?
I'm starting to get worried he's not going to play a role at any point in his career. This is kind of when I thought we would see him really start to break out because, it is Brian Robinson's running back room, but it kind of had some open spots in it coming into this season. And, we could have seen Trey Sanders emerge into that role for whatever reason. Maybe there's just not the practices that he needed to have, but he couldn't step into that. I don't know if, maybe after this season he reconsiders or something like that. But it just, I thought by this point in his career, we would see him start to become at least the running back too.
Yeah, I wanted to pull up Alabama's football schedule and kind of just look at the back end because, as I said earlier, I think it is pretty favorable. That game against Auburn, I think it does make people nervous and rightfully so. I want to get your take kind of on this back end, and let me pull up the schedule. I'll do that, Chris, on the side. Okay, so here's the schedule, the back end of the schedule. We talked a little bit about it last night, and we'll take your score predictions. So keep posting them inside the comment box, and then we'll get to your score predictions right here on our score prediction show. He's Trey Kennedy. I'm Kyle Henderson, both of BamaInsider.com. What do you think of this back end schedule? We got LSU, 28-point favorite. Then you got the New Mexico State Aggies. If you've been following our YouTube channel for the last 5 years or whatever, you guys know that I went to New Mexico State, oddly enough. And I've seen New Mexico State play here. This will be on my second time, which is so crazy because I never these two teams should not be playing. You want to hear something crazy? The head football coach at New Mexico State paints the own lines on the practice field.
What? That's like high school football.
Yeah. Like
TV show
I mean, Nick Saban, is flying around here on a jetpack. So that's the big difference between the two coaches. And then you got Arkansas. What do you think? Guess an early line on that game. 17.5.
I'm whatever Arkansas does this week is gonna change things. But right now, I would say 17 or maybe even 20 at this point.
And what about Auburn?
At Jordan Hare, however it's supposed to be pronounced. Right now I would put it at 13.5 if I had to lay the line
over in Auburn.
In Auburn.
Wow.
I think so. This Auburn team is just
and I guess a lot of that will change depending on Auburn and Texas A&M, who haven't played this weekend, right?
Yeah.
I think that'll be a tall task. It seems like Bo Nix doesn't play well on the road.
Yeah.
But I think when he plays at home, in big time games, against teams, he does fairly well.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all seen, his approach against Alabama a couple seasons ago where he did beat Alabama head to head. He balled out against Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he beat Matt Corral head to head. People are saying a depleted Matt Corral, but it seems like he's depleted every single week.
I was going to say.
So I don't know. I mean, it is a favorable back end schedule. I do like it. Clearly, we know that Alabama, all they have to do is win out and they're in, correct?
Yeah. I mean, if Alabama wins the rest of their games, they're champions yet again here. But it is a tall task, like we said, and you made a great point last night to end this show. Give Cincinnati Alabama's schedule. Yeah. They're not going to make it to the playoff. Give Alabama their schedule. It's a different story. So Alabama's got kind of a gauntlet there, just getting through that SEC title game. But overall, this is what it is, and it's it's in Alabama's hands.
Here on the score prediction show, if you guys have a couple more score predictions, we'll post it on the screen. We're not going to keep you guys long. So I think that there's a large party out there that feels the Alabama probably steamroll over LSU. So maybe this is where we're at. But
isn't that crazy, Kyle, to think that 2 seasons ago, the last time LSU was here, it seemed like they were about to start building this dynasty that was just going to kind of get to this Alabama level, and now this team couldn't be in a worse spot. And, I'm kind of interested your thoughts on this whole Orgeron situation, because I feel like you usually see teams in this situation kind of fall apart when their coach has a deal like this where they know he's not going to be around for much longer. But for whatever reason, it kind of seems like, at least early in games, this LSU team is rallied around it, and they've looked better since that news came out.
Yeah, they have. I mean, oddly enough, they have looked a little bit better. I think, maybe there's no more pressure. It's like they knew that eventually this Ed Orgeron deal was going to go down, and maybe now they're just playing a little bit more loose. I don't know what it is, but they did beat Florida. That was really impressive to me. And here are the last few games between Alabama and LSU. We all saw Joe Burrow and that loaded LSU team come into Tuscaloosa and win 46-41. That was an incredible game, and that was an incredible team. That Alabama had an incredible team that year, but that LSU team, I would have loved to see last year's LSU team played or the 2019 LSU team play Alabama in 2020, like those two loaded teams. Because just from a top to bottom standpoint, both those squads were completely loaded. Most of those guys are balling out in the NFL now.
Oh, right? Yeah. They say they claim that LSU team is the best team of all time, maybe the best offense of all time. But that really would be a show to see last year's team take them on. Overall, this series has been what it is for the Tide.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. I mean, it was all Alabama up until 2011, 2010. You know who was over there in 2011, 2010? It was Saban.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Right?
I mean,
So
they really haven't. That was that the 6-3 game or 9-6 or whatever?
yeah, it says 9-6 right here.
That
In
was a
2011.
crazy game. That was one of the best games I think I've ever watched. If
Yeah.
you like defense, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look how much, kind of, I think the scores too kind of indicate how college football has changed a little bit. I mean, you look at from 2011 at 9-6, 21-0, 21-17. And then, you kind of see this, amped up. Well, I guess, past 2016, you start to see a lot more points between those two teams. So I don't know. I think Alabama will definitely roll against LSU. I think that this team, what I keep waiting for with this team is they just haven't played their best game yet.
Yeah.
What if they play their best game against Georgia?
That's all you need to do. You look at, and I don't want to make too much of a baseball comparison here. You look at the Atlanta Braves. They came into the playoffs at number 10 out of 10 as far as playoff records went. They just won the World Series. It doesn't take, necessarily the best record or what, their score was against this team. Who's the hottest at that time?
Mm-hmm.
Who shows up that day? And Alabama is certainly capable of doing that.
Yeah. Do you feel that that this Georgia team has everything that they need to completely run the table?
I do. I really do. You look at this team all the way around. This defense is scary. It is dominant. Their defensive line, maybe the best in all of college football history. I know I'm going to get some people coming in here about Miami and whatever else, but, look at that defense. And on the other side of the football, Stetson Bennett's coming into his own, and that running back room is just so loaded. They've had the receivers step up. This is a complete team. This reminds me of Alabama last year with a better defense, to be honest. Maybe a worse quarterback. Worst core, but overall, this team is deadly. They're loaded, but that's not to say Alabama can't go in there and, get a big win. 2018, when you're in San Fran, I bet everybody else in the stadium thought Alabama was, maybe not going to dominate that game, but win that game at least. They were a much better team that year, and that just wasn't the case that night. So we'll see what happens. Like I said last night, Georgia might kind of take their foot off the gas pedal a little bit as far as the playbook goes in the SEC title, because that's not going to really matter for them. They're going to be in one way or the other. So, maybe this is maybe this is an opportunity for Alabama to kind of take advantage of a different looking Georgia team, but they can do it. This is not over yet, as much as people want to throw in the towel.
Yeah, I think, I agree with you. I think that, Georgia certainly has all the components, and, but still, I just don't think that you can count out Alabama.
No,
I still believe in this team. I know this isn't the best team. I don't think they played the best football, but I just, I've seen this time and time again. And, Saban will figure out a way to get this youthful team inspired at the right time. He'll use the ploy that, they are the underdogs, and they'll come out. And I think that you kind of look to these last two games between Georgia and Alabama. They've been incredible games to watch. I mean, they're really like movies because of the whole Jalen and Tua deal kind of behind the scenes. And then when Tua got hurt and Jalen came in and won that game, that was like watching, that was like watching
Scripted.
a movie. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So when you look to these top two teams, clearly they're on a collision course, but Alabama first has to take care of LSU, New Mexico State, Arkansas, Auburn to get to Georgia.
Yeah.
How about this with Kirby Smart being from Alabama or coaching at Alabama, and then Mel Tucker, and then Mario Cristobal? I mean, isn't like Saban? We're like this guy, man. It's
just unfair.
This is unbelievable.
It's crazy. And, that's just the four at the top there. You look around the rest of the top 25, and there's guys, maybe not even head coaches, but just guys on staffs of pretty much all of these teams here. It's just insane, the grasp that he has on college football right now. And, even with a young team, even with a different kind of scheme and, maybe a defensive coordinator that's catching all the heat in the world and an offensive coordinator that's doing the same now, he's still finding a way to keep out all the noise, get this team together. And I think you're right. I think this is a young team, but they will come together. It's Nick Saban. It's Alabama. This is college football. I think they're pretty good at that.
All right. Looks like we have a couple more score predictions that people have been posting. So maybe we move to that. But the bottom of the screen, I just want to read out our producer, Chris. He just posted Bryce Young. Look at those numbers. 2,400 yards, 26 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 70% completion percentage. Like this is his first year. He's a sophomore. We get to hear him speak like almost every week. And the guy's like,
It's insane. He's just it's like he's going to Harvard right now. It's crazy. And, it's so funny, Kyle. You think back to the beginning of this season, really the off season, the big question mark is his size. Is he going to get bigger? He's going to be able to handle that. Nobody's even thinking about that anymore. He's just come out and dominated. But you couldn't ask for more at this point.
So should we cue up the music and take some more score predictions?
I believe that's the natural call here. Let's see what we got. LSU is scoring 31 touchdowns a game. They're giving up 31 touchdowns a game. Let's see how many you guys think they're going to score here in Tuscaloosa. Chris, who are we starting with? We got Donald Schultz coming in at 49-17, another 17. This one right there covering, I believe it's on the number. I kind of like that. I don't know. I think this is, this is a game that could get out of hand, but that score right there is a little bit more reasonable. And another selfie here, the second one of the night. I love it.
All right, keep it going. Yeah, good stuff, Donald. We appreciate you, man.
Alabama tied. They got Bama rolling at 55-14. 55, an interesting number. I don't know how they're going to get to that one, but I don't hate it. This one a bit more out of hand there, and a nice profile pick as well.
All right, keep it going.
Rapid fire here. We got Celeste Lenore. I think I'm pronouncing that right. We got a French flag, so we're going to go Lenore. 38-11. That is a very unique score, but I like it. I think 27-point difference there. Alabama barely misses the cover.
All right, I'm trying to bring up this other graphic, so just keep rolling through it. And I do like the flag, so keep it. Oh, the Godfather, love it.
Oh, Don Corleone coming on to the show here. Excellent Godfather profile pick. He's got Alabama 41-14. Some kind of emoji going on here. It's got the mask. I don't know if he's disgusted by LSU. I think that's it. The emoji is supposed to represent them. I love it. 41-14. So we get the game notes coming up here. Let's move it along. We got Tom Westrup, 42-13. He's got the Tide rolling. I like the grammar there. Put an exclamation point on the end of it. Keeping it clean.
Oh, and he's got a vehicle.
Oh, I didn't even realize.
Yeah. Okay. So if you're new to the show, every time you have a vehicle, you have to tell us about it inside the comment box. So Tom, you step away, like your score.
Yeah.
Tell us the type of vehicle, make, model, mileage if you want to. And, we like to hear more from you, Tom. We car guys over here. So keep it going.
Kimberly Harmon coming in another week. Ooh. Another Kimberly Harmon score prediction. We love it. 57-6. Roll Tide. I love Kimberly because she always puts ROLE on it. It's a nice little flair on the phrase there. 57-6.
And Miss Kimberly's been with us for many, many years. Yeah. So thank you, Miss Kimberly, for your support. We appreciate you. Strong avatar game. You always LSU going to take that. There you go.
There it is. Kimberly.
Keep it going.
Love to see it. Let's see what we got up next. Baylor 06, out of towner. Thanks for coming in. We got Baylor. As a Baylor fan, he's got Alabama absolutely steamrolling in this game, 59-3. I didn't realize there was the tension there between Baton Rouge and Waco, Texas, but I guess it's out there. He's got a big Alabama victory.
And Baylor is a team that's going to be interesting kind of going down the stretch. I mean, you just recently did a video for the College Sportsbook talking about the Big 12. What do you think about the Baylor Bears?
There's value if you're talking about that in there. Oh, my goodness, especially after this weekend. Let's see what we got next. We got Michael Smith, DJ Smitty. I like it.
What's up, DJ Smitty?
DJ Smitty, 52-10. He's got Alabama getting a 42-point win. I think that covers all right.
Yeah, DJ Smitty's just chilling. All right, keep going.
Didi Odom.
Oh, Didi, what's up?
What's up, Didi? We got 52-17 coming in. With the Roll Tide script day avatar, just a classic one. And another big Alabama victory, 52-17.
Love it. Love the score. I mean, a lot of 17s, like you were saying. It's a common theme.
And I think we've seen that in the past with LSU. So I think it's, kind of right down that train of thought. Let's do a couple more here in this round. Up next, we're going to go to Bama Fan.
I really like this avatar.
Classic avatar.
Yeah.
45-13. That's a real elephant right there.
That is a real elephant. Those are some real tusks, and it's just overall really good artwork right there. I like the score, 45-13. I can see 2 field goals from LSU, something like that. So good score prediction right there. I'd say probably be the under. Go ahead.
Alabama Tide coming in and telling me how we get to 55. It's much, much more simple than I thought. It's just 7 touchdowns and 2 field goals. That one's on me. Like I said, I'm not a mathematician. I appreciate the help there. We got Ladarius Martin coming in at 45-9. Roll Tide roll.
That's not a bad score.
No, I think that's that covers as well there. I like it.
Yeah, I like the name too, Ladarius. All right, keep going.
That's a sweet one. We got maybe one more in this round. We got Sean from Huntsville coming in. Good to see you, Sean. He's got 52-17. Bet on it. I like it.
Yeah, and Sean, I mean, if you ever heard Sean spit knowledge. I mean,
Oh my
he'll
goodness.
make you a lot smarter. So when Sean calls in to one of our post-game shows or whenever, you sit down, listen, pull out your pen, you pull out your pad, take notes, and you get smarter at the game of college football. All right, so that was a good round. We appreciate you guys for piping in your scores. We got a couple game notes to kind of go through, kind of read those off. Let me see if I can zoom in. Sometimes it's a little bit tough to zoom in on this particular screen, but anyways, we talked a little bit about the series. LSU, as you can see on the right of their screen, started off with the loss to UCLA, and then they've kind of been up and down, a little all over the place. Lost to Ole Miss by a score of 31-17, but before that beat Florida 49-42. Trey, any cause for concern with LSU coming to town? Or are you buying into the rat poison that Alabama just gives the Tigers a drubbing?
Alabama scores a lot of points early in the game, and LSU is 86 right now in average yards per game allowed for their defense, and they're 85th in average points per game allowed. So, this team's given up a lot of points. I think Alabama is going to get out to such a lead like they've done in most games this season, where LSU can't really come back in this one, but LSU's got some playmakers. Keyshawn Boutte is one of the most elite receivers in the country, maybe the best receiver in the country. He's coming back. He's healthy. He's ready to go. And Max Johnson's been awesome. We heard Saban talk about it this morning a little bit. One of the better quarterbacks in the SEC this season. So it's not to say that LSU, maybe doesn't come out, have some explosive plays. They will, but Alabama, I think, is going to take advantage of a pretty poor defense this season and, put some points on the board early.
Okay. I want to ask you this, Trey. Do you think, who do you think is a realistic option for LSU to put as the next head football coach? You also did a video about this as well.
Yeah, this is and it's changed a lot since I made that video. There's been some other names that have kind of floated around in that conversation. I don't think it's going to be Lane Kiffin. I think if they can make it happen, Joe Judge would Joe Brady, would be the guy. But I just don't know if that's going to happen. I would say that's maybe the best option for LSU. The most probable, I still don't think you can point to one guy right now. Do you
think there's a realistic chance that Mel Tucker would go for a job like that?
I saw that, and a little bit of Cristobal in that conversation, kind of at that same level there. I don't think so. Honestly, he's got that program in such a good spot right now. They're really playing the way that Michigan State wants to play. And I just don't think it's realistic. This job is coveted, but you see even guys like Dabo Sweeney coming from Clemson, who's obviously made their mark at this point, not wanting that job, and NFL guys too. I just think it's a different position nowadays. And I don't think anybody with a program like that, at least, that's having that much success is going to leave that at this point. But, one more name, I would say James Franklin. Got to keep your eye on, because that's pretty big time candidate there.
Yeah, I think, Franklin, could be a great option. I know there's he recently just got a new agent. I know that USC definitely interested in him. I'm not sure what USC pays their head football coach because it's private, so you don't find out that information. But, those guys are up in the $6 million range or something like that. I think Mel Tucker's like at 5.5, and I think LSU is paying Orgeron 8.5. I think Saban's probably around 8.5. You throw in incentives, he's probably at 9. So you could almost double your salary to go to LSU, but then you have to deal with the big boys like Nick Saban and Kirby Smart and the rest of the crew, the rest of the Saban crew.
The mafia.
I guess you have to figure out. But I think long term, LSU is a program. They're in a recruiting hotbed. You saw what they did just a couple years ago. Just curious because, it is SEC talk, and people do care about LSU because, they've had some runs before. Sean's saying Dave Aranda in the comment box. So,
true. I like that pick too. Yeah, that's kind of somewhat of a, newer name in this conversation. I like it.
And Diddy's saying in the comment box, she's saying Jimbo. And I think that, because Texas and Texas A&M, they have such deep pockets. They're just paying him like $75 million, like every single, like they keep upping the ante. So I don't know. LSU wants to get serious about it. So I guess we'll just have to see how it goes. All right, fam. So we're almost at the 40-minute mark. We're not going to keep you here. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. I know there's a lot of Braves fans here, probably stayed up real late and had some adult beverages to enjoy the Braves winning the first time since
95.
Yeah. Wow.
Fourth world title, but I think it's really only their second, because it's second in Atlanta. So
it was crazy because I grew up in Santa Fe, New Mexico, but I always watched the Braves because of TBS. So, like I always
Yes.
watch, so I always watch like Tom Glavine, John Smoltz, Greg Maddox, Fred McGriff, Andrew Jones. Like I grew up watching those guys. And we also had WGN. So we watched the Cubs.
Yeah.
And those are the two teams, that you always kind of knew about just because they were always on TV. So the other thing is, I love going to Atlanta. I've told people that all the time. I love the ATL, and the new stadium is amazing.
Check that out.
They have like restaurants and bars and condos like outside the stadium, and the stadium's really cool. Have a ton of stuff. So really happy for the Braves to win the championship. All right, fam. Well, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate you more than you know. We hope you have a strong rest of your week. We hope you have a strong rest of your month going into a pivotal month for the college football season. He's Jay Kennedy. I'm Kyle Henderson. We will catch you on the post-game show right here on BamaInsider.com. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. Go check out all of our videos on BamaInsider.com. Thank you very much for being with us tonight. Good night.